By 1943, every time the Soviets won a battle against the Wehrmacht, they followed it up with larger and larger land repatriation. The Soviets had recovered from the initial shocks of the German onslaught, and the devastation of their country. It was one thing for the Soviets to defeat the Germans in battle, but they also needed to move troops and supplies over sometimes difficult terrain quickly. Enter the Studebaker truck, called Deuce-and-a-half by GIs, because of its 2.5-ton cargo carrying capacity. The Studebaker US6 G630 was a series of 6x6 and 6x4 trucks manufactured in South Bend, Indiana, and Lansing, Michigan. Built by Studebaker and another company called Rio Motors, over 152,000 were shipped to the Soviet Union under the Lend-Lease Act. As a side note, Rio Motors was the inspiration for the rock band REO Speedwagon's name, although they pronounced it differently. There is no doubt that this piece of hardware, which had 13 variations, helped the Soviets finish the war earlier than otherwise would have been the case. Roughly 17.5 million tons of military equipment, vehicles, industrial supplies, and food were shipped from the Western Hemisphere to the USSR, with 94% coming from the United States. For comparison, a total of 22 million tons landed in Europe to supply American forces from January 1942 to May 1945. It has been estimated that American deliveries to the USSR, through the Persian corridor alone, were sufficient, by U.S. Army standards, to maintain 60 combat divisions. This means the United States supplied the Soviets with almost 80% of what they were sending their own troops in Europe. The Persian corridor was one of 3 ways that the Allies could send supplies to the Russians year-round, relatively free from German interdiction. It was a long and slow route, but very effective in the long run. The Soviet Army loved the Studebaker truck because of its 4- and 6-wheel drive capability, its ruggedness, its carrying capacity, and its ability to haul itself and other vehicles out of bad conditions. Even though the Deuce-and-a-half was supposed to carry only 2.5 tons, the Russians sometimes overloaded it with 4 tons or more, with no obvious ill effects. The Deuce-and-a-half was superior to their Russian equivalents, but the only drawback that it had, from a Russian perspective, was that it required good oil and gasoline. No inferior swill for this girl, no sir. By early 1945, the Soviets had decided that they should carry no more than 3.5 tons on the Studebaker. The Americans' generosity to other allies with the Lend-Lease Act raised mobility for all Allied troops at a crucial time in the war, and helped end the war earlier.
Товарищ комиссар, мне кажется, Studebaker делают здесь, в Мексике. Здесь написано: залейте бензин в бак. Включите Studebaker. Америка хороша.
It was a pleasure to make this video. If you like this video, then check out 2 of my other videos, on D-Day, What Would Sun Tzu Do, and Should the Continentals Have Retreated from Charlestown in 1780? Thank you for watching. If you liked what you see, hit the subscribe button or share. Thank you. This has been EmersusTech.